The alarm bells rang through the Galactic Console monitoring station Theta 7. Red lights flashed across the control room as officers from different alien species rushed to their stations. Commander Zexstar, a tall blue-skinned threnody with 4 arms, stood at the center of the chaos. "Report," he ordered, his voice deep and calm despite the emergency. Lieutenant Cralvo, a small green creature with large eyes, looked up from his scanning station. "Sir, we have an unknown vessel approaching the Kepler sector. It appeared on our sensors 5 minutes ago." "How fast is it moving?" Zexstar asked. "That's the problem, sir. It's moving at speeds that should be impossible for any known ship. Our computers can't match it to any design in our database." Zexstar walked over to the main display screen. A small dot moved across the star map, leaving a bright trail behind it. The numbers at the bottom of the screen showed speed readings that made no sense. "Run the scan again," he said. "I've run it 3 times, sir. The readings are correct. That ship is moving faster than our best warships, and it's not even using faster-than-light travel." Amy Foster sat at her station near the back of the control room. She was the only human on the station, serving as a liaison officer between Earth and the Galactic Consuls. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and she wore the standard blue uniform of the Consul Fleet. Amy had worked hard for 15 years to prove that humans belonged in the galaxy. Most alien species still saw Earth as a backward planet with primitive technology. She had earned her position through years of study and dedication. "Lieutenant Foster," Zexstar called out, "this vessel appears to be of human origin. Do you have any information about it?" Amy stood up and walked to the commander's station. She looked at the readings on the screen and felt her stomach drop. The ship's energy signature was definitely human, but it was unlike anything she had ever seen. "Sir, I don't recognize this vessel. According to our records, Earth doesn't have any ships capable of these speeds." "Could it be a secret military project?" asked Dr. Namara, the station's science officer. She was a tall, thin creature with silver skin and no hair. "I don't think so," Amy said. "I would have been informed about any major space projects. This doesn't match anything in our current fleet." "Try to contact the vessel," Zexstar ordered. Lieutenant Cralvo pressed buttons on his communication panel. "Unknown vessel, this is Galactic Console Monitoring Station Theta 7. Please identify yourself and state your purpose in this sector." The control room fell silent as they waited for a response. After 30 seconds, a clear voice came through the speakers. "Theta 7, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Wanderer's Edge. We request safe passage to continue our journey." Amy's eyes widened. The voice spoke perfect galactic standard, the common language used by all consul species. Most humans still struggled with the complex grammar and pronunciation. "Captain Morrison," Zexstar replied into the microphone, "your vessel does not appear in any of our records. Please transmit your ship's registration and mission details." There was a pause before Morrison's voice came back. "Commander, our registration codes are being transmitted now. As for our mission, we are traveling to Nexus Prime on urgent business with the High Council." Dr. Namara looked at her computer screen as the data came in. "Sir, these registration codes don't match any format in our database. They appear to be genuine, but they're using a system I've never seen before." "And did he say Nexus Prime?" Cralvo asked. "That's the Consul homeworld. No human has ever been granted permission to visit there." Amy felt more confused by the minute. Nexus Prime was the most heavily guarded planet in the galaxy. Only the highest-ranking consul officials were allowed to visit. She had never even seen pictures of the planet. "Captain Morrison," Zexstar said into the microphone, "what business could you possibly have with the High Council?" "I'm afraid that information is classified, Commander. I can only discuss it with the Council members themselves." Zexstar's blue skin darkened, a sign of anger in his species. "Captain, you are in violation of several Consul regulations. Your ship is not in our records. You're traveling at impossible speeds, and you're requesting access to restricted space." "I understand your concerns, Commander. However, my mission is of the utmost importance to galactic security. I request that you contact the High Council directly and inform them of our arrival. Amy watched as the commander's 4 arms moved across different control panels. She had never seen him this frustrated before. Sir, Dr. Namara said quietly, I'm getting some very strange readings from their ship. The hull appears to be made of materials that don't exist in our database. And their energy output is off the charts. What do you mean? Zexstar asked. Their power source is generating more energy than a small star, but there's no radiation signature. It's as if they found a way to contain and control power that should be impossible to handle. Amy felt a chill run down her spine. If this was true, then this human ship was more advanced than anything the consuls had ever built. But that was impossible. Earth was still developing basic space travel technology, Captain Morrison, Zexstar said. I'm going to need you to stop your vessel and prepare for boarding. We must inspect your ship before you can continue. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Commander. We're on a tight schedule. However, I'm willing to provide any information you need through communication. Captain, this is not a request. Stop your vessel immediately, or we will consider you a threat to galactic security. The control room fell silent again. Amy held her breath, waiting for Morrison's response. Commander, I respect your authority in this sector, but I cannot comply with your request. My mission is too important to delay. I assure you that we pose no threat to any consul worlds or citizens. Sir, Lieutenant Crowgo said urgently. The ship just increased speed. It's moving even faster now. Zexstar looked at the display screen. The small dot was moving across the star map at an incredible rate. How is that possible? He asked. I don't know, sir. Our sensors show they're still in normal space, but they're moving at speeds that should tear any ship apart. Amy stared at the screen, her mind racing. What kind of technology did this human ship possess? And why hadn't Earth shared it with the consuls? Commander, she said quietly, I think we need to contact Earth immediately. Something is very wrong here. Zexstar nodded grimly. Agreed. And we need to warn the High Council. If this ship reaches Nexus Prime, it could change everything. As the mysterious vessel continued its impossible journey toward the heart of consul space, Amy couldn't shake the feeling that her life was about to change forever. The human ship called Wanderer's Edge was not just breaking the laws of physics, it was breaking everything she thought she knew about her own species. The Galactic Consul Intelligence Division building on Nexus Prime was a massive structure made of black stone and metal. Inside the building, Director Velinara sat at her desk reviewing reports. Her silicon-based body looked like living crystal, with sharp edges and a blue glow that pulsed with her thoughts. She had received Commander Zexstar's emergency report about the mysterious human ship 3 hours ago. Since then, her department had been working non-stop to find answers. The problem was that there were no answers to find. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Come in, she said in her mechanical voice. Agent Karen Wells entered the room. She was a tall woman with short black hair and sharp green eyes. She had been working for Consul Intelligence for 8 years and was one of their best human operatives. Director, I've finished my preliminary investigation, Karen said, sitting down across from Velinara's desk. What did you find? Karen opened her electronic tablet and began reading. The ship called Wanderer's Edge does not exist in any human database. I checked military records, civilian shipping manifests, and even black market construction reports. Nothing. That's impossible, Velinara said. Ships that size cannot be built in secret. That's what I thought too, but it gets worse. Karen swiped to the next page on her tablet. I contacted Earth Space Command directly. They have no record of a Captain Jake Morrison. They also have no record of anyone by that name ever serving in their military. Velinara's crystal body flickered brighter. So, either this Morrison is using a false identity or ... Or he's not from the Earth that we know, Karen finished. Director, I've been studying the energy readings from the ship. The power source appears to be something completely new. It's not nuclear, not antimatter, not even dark matter manipulation. What is it then? Karen shook her head. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's producing more energy than should be possible for a ship that size. The readings suggest they could power a small city with just a fraction of their output. As they talked, an alarm sounded throughout the building. Velanara pressed a button on her desk and a holographic display appeared in the air above them. Priority message from the Hegemony Patrol Fleet, she said. The display showed Admiral Torxan, a large reptilian creature with red scales and yellow eyes. His species, the Hegemony, were known for their military strength and aggressive nature. Director, Velanara, the Admiral said, my ships have encountered the human vessel you warned us about. We attempted to intercept it for inspection as ordered. What happened? Velanara asked. The ship simply disappeared. Not jumped to faster than light speed, not cloaked. It vanished completely from our sensors for 17 minutes. Then it reappeared, in exactly the same location as if nothing had happened. Karen leaned forward. That's impossible. No known technology can do that? That's what my science officer said, Admiral Torxan replied, but we have it recorded on our sensors. The ship was there, then it wasn't, then it was again. During those 17 minutes, our sensors detected nothing, not even empty space. It was as if that section of space simply stopped existing. Velanara's body pulsed with rapid blue light, a sign of deep concern. Admiral, did the human ship show any hostile actions? None. When it reappeared, the captain contacted us directly. He apologized for the inconvenience and said they were simply avoiding a potential misunderstanding. Then he wished us a safe journey and continued on his way. After the Admiral signed off, Karen and Velanara sat in silence for several minutes. Director, Karen finally said, I need to tell you something else. The ship's crew has been communicating with various consul species along their route. They're not just talking about the weather. What do you mean? Karen pulled up another file on her tablet. They've been discussing trade agreements between the Vorthan Empire and the Crystalline Collective. Those negotiations are classified. They've also mentioned the border dispute between the Hegemony and the Zephyrian Republic. That information is strictly confidential. How could they know about classified consul business? That's not the worst part, Karen continued. Dr. Lisa Chun, their science officer, has been having technical discussions with our best scientists. She's been explaining theories about space-time, manipulation and energy conversion that are decades ahead of our current understanding. Velanara stood up from her desk and walked to the large window overlooking the city. Karen, what you're describing suggests that humans have been hiding their true capabilities from us for years. That's exactly what I think is happening, but why? Before Velanara could answer, another alarm sounded. This time it was a direct communication from the High Council chambers. Director Velanara, came the voice of Chancellor Mextara, the leader of the consul government. The human ship has requested formal audience with the High Council. They claim to have information vital to galactic security. Chancellor, I strongly advise against granting this request until we understand more about this vessel and its crew. I agree with your caution, Director. However, the ship has already demonstrated technology that far exceeds our own. If they wanted to harm us, they probably could have done so already. Karen stepped forward. Chancellor, if I may, I believe this ship represents a faction of humanity that has been operating in secret. They may have been watching us for years without our knowledge. That's a disturbing thought, Agent Wells. Are you suggesting that Earth has been deceiving us about their technological capabilities? I think that's exactly what I'm suggesting, sir. There was a long pause before the Chancellor spoke again. Director, I want a full investigation into human activities in consul space. Go back through our records for the past 50 years. Look for any anomalies, any unexplained incidents that might now make sense. Yes, sir. What about the ship's request for audience? I will grant them a preliminary hearing in 3 days. That should give you enough time to gather more information. But Karen, I want you to be present at that hearing. If anyone can spot deception from humans, it would be another human. After the communication ended, Karen looked at Velanara with worry in her eyes. Director, if humans have been hiding advanced technology from the consuls, there must be a reason. Either they don't trust us, or they're afraid of something. Or they're planning something, Villanara added. There's one more thing, Karen said quietly. Captain Morrison mentioned that his mission concerns galactic security. What if he's not here to threaten us? What if he's here to warn us about something? Velanara's crystal body dimmed as she considered this possibility. That might be even worse, Karen. If humans have been secretly protecting the galaxy from some unknown threat, then we need to ask ourselves, what were they protecting us from? As the mysterious ship continued its journey toward Nexus Prime, both women realized that the galaxy might be about to learn some very uncomfortable truths about humanity's place in the universe. The High Council chamber was the largest room on Nexus Prime. Representatives from 47 different species sat in a great circle, their various forms creating a strange rainbow of colors and shapes. At the center of the chamber stood Captain Jake Morrison, looking calm despite being surrounded by the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Chancellor Mextara, a tall creature with purple skin and silver eyes, spoke first. Captain Morrison, you have requested this audience claiming to have information vital to galactic security. Before we hear your message, we must address the concerning nature of your vessel. Morrison nodded. I understand your concerns, Chancellor. My ship and crew represent capabilities that Earth has kept hidden from the Galactic Consuls. I'm here today to explain why. A rumble of shocked voices filled the chamber. Agent Karen Wells, sitting in the observer section, felt her heart sink. Her worst fears were being confirmed. Are you saying that Earth has been deliberately deceiving us about your technological advancement? Asked Counselor Vexenal, a large insect-like creature with multiple eyes. Yes, Counselor. For the past 200 years, humanity has maintained the appearance of a primitive civilization while secretly developing advanced technology. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some species demanded immediate answers while others called for Earth to be expelled from the Consul Alliance. Chancellor Mextara banged his ceremonial staff on the floor. Order! Captain Morrison, you will explain this deception immediately. Morrison activated a small device in his hand. A holographic display appeared above the chamber, showing images of destroyed planets and dead space stations. What you're seeing are the remains of 17 different civilizations, Morrison said. Each one was destroyed shortly after they revealed advanced technology to the galaxy. The chamber fell silent as the images continued. Burnt cities, shattered ships, and empty worlds filled the display. These civilizations made the same mistake, Morrison continued. They developed powerful technology and shared it openly. Within decades, they were all destroyed by the same enemy. Dr. Nimara, the science officer from Monitoring Station Theta 7, was present as a witness. She studied the images carefully. Captain, these ruins span thousands of years. What kind of enemy could operate for so long? An enemy that hunts advanced civilizations, Morrison replied. They study their targets from a distance, learn their weaknesses, then strike without warning. They leave no survivors. Director Villanara's crystal body pulsed with blue light. Are you suggesting that Earth has been hiding its technology to avoid attracting this enemy? Exactly. Earth's deep space probes discovered these ruins over 2 centuries ago. We realized that openly displaying advanced technology was essentially a death sentence. Morrison pressed another button on his device. The hologram changed to show a massive space station hidden in an asteroid field. This is Research Station Alpha, one of hundreds of hidden human facilities throughout the galaxy. We've been secretly developing technology and monitoring potential threats while maintaining the appearance of a primitive world. Amy Foster, who had been brought to Nexus Prime as a witness, stood up from her seat. Captain, I've worked for the consuls for 15 years. Are you telling me that Earth has been lying to me this entire time? Morrison looked at her with sad eyes. Lieutenant Foster, you were never supposed to know. Your work with the consuls has been valuable, but it was also part of our cover. We needed humans in official positions to maintain the deception. Felt betrayed and angry. So my entire career has been a lie? Your career has been real and your work has been important, Morrison said. But yes, Earth has been using your position to gather intelligence and maintain our cover. Counselor Grickstar, a large creature covered in thick fur, growled angrily. Captain, you speak of threats and enemies, but you have provided no proof. How do we know this isn't simply an excuse for your deception? Morrison nodded to someone behind him. A tall man with short brown hair stepped forward. This is Engineer Ryan Clark, Morrison said. He's going to demonstrate some of our hidden technology. Clark walked to the center of the chamber and pulled out a small metal cube. He placed it on the floor and stepped back. This is a basic construction unit, Clark explained. It uses programmable matter to create tools and equipment. The cube began to glow and expand. Within seconds, it transformed into a complex machine with moving parts and glowing panels. This technology allows us to build and repair equipment anywhere in space, Clark continued. We've used it to construct hidden bases and monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. The machine continued to change, becoming different shapes and devices. The alien representatives watched in amazement as it finally transformed into a perfect replica of a console communication device. How is this possible? Asked Dr. Namara. We've been studying console technology for decades, Clark replied. We know how to build most of your equipment, often better than you do. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. If humans could replicate console technology, what else were they capable of? Chancellor Mextara spoke carefully. Captain Morrison, if your people possess such advanced capabilities, why reveal them now? What has changed? Morrison's face became grim. Because the enemy we've been hiding from has found us anyway. Long-range sensors have detected a massive fleet approaching from the galactic rim. They'll be here within 6 months. Another hologram appeared, showing hundreds of dark ships moving through space. These are the Devourers, Morrison said. They consume entire worlds and their populations. They've been hunting advanced civilizations for thousands of years. Now they're coming for the Galactic Consuls. The chamber erupted in panic. Representatives from different species shouted questions and demands. How do you know this? Chancellor Mextara asked. Because we've been tracking them for 50 years, Morrison replied. We've studied their attack patterns and technology. We know how they operate. And you said nothing? Counselor Vexenal demanded. We couldn't risk causing panic before we were ready to help, Morrison said. The Devourers are incredibly dangerous. 17 civilizations tried to fight them and failed. We needed time to develop weapons and defenses that could actually work. Amy Foster stood up again. Captain, are you saying that humans have been preparing for this war while letting us remain defenseless? We haven't been letting you remain defenseless, Morrison replied. We've been secretly installing defense systems around critical console worlds. We've been monitoring for signs of Devourer infiltration. And we've been building a fleet designed specifically to fight them. The hologram changed to show massive human warships hidden in remote star systems. These ships have been built over the past century, Morrison explained. They use technology specifically designed to counter Devourer tactics. But we can't win this war alone. Chancellor Mextara stood up, his tall form casting a shadow over the chamber. Captain Morrison, you're asking us to trust a species that has been deceiving us for centuries. How do we know this isn't another lie? Morrison looked around the chamber at the faces of 47 different species. Because, Chancellor, if we're lying about this threat, you'll know the truth in 6 months when the Devourers arrive. And if we're telling the truth, then the next 6 months will determine whether galactic civilization survives or joins those 17 dead worlds. The chamber fell silent as every representative considered the terrible choice before them. Trust the humans who had been lying to them, or face an unknown enemy alone. The emergency session of the High Council had been going on for 12 hours. Representatives from different species argued loudly about whether to trust the humans or expel them from the alliance. Chancellor Mextara looked tired as he tried to maintain order in the chamber. The Crystalline Collective demands proof of this supposed threat, declared Counselor Zixtel, her diamond-like body reflecting the chamber's lights. "We will not be frightened by human lies and tricks." "The hegemony agrees," growled Admiral. "Torxan, these humans have been spying on us for centuries. How do we know they're not planning to conquer us?" Amy Foster sat in the witness section, still feeling betrayed by the revelations about her own species. She had spent years building trust between humans and aliens, only to learn that her entire career was built on deception. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the building. Emergency lights flashed red as urgent messages appeared on screens around the chamber. "What's happening?" Chancellor Mextara demanded. A young consul officer rushed into the chamber. "Sir, long-range sensors have detected massive energy signatures approaching from the galactic rim. Multiple fleets, sir." "Hundreds of ships." The chamber fell silent. Captain Morrison stood up slowly, his face grim. "It's too early," he said quietly. "They weren't supposed to arrive for another 6 months." "Who wasn't supposed to arrive?" the Chancellor asked. Morrison activated his communication device. "Pete, are you reading this?" A voice crackled through the speakers. "I'm here, Captain." "Commander Pete Jackson reporting from the Wanderer's Edge. Our sensors confirm it. The Devourers are here." The chamber erupted in panic. Representatives who had been arguing about human deception now faced a real and immediate threat. "How many ships?" Morrison asked. "Over 800 vessels, sir. They're moving in formation toward the core worlds. Estimated time of arrival at the outer colonies is 72 hours. Director Velinara crystal body pulsed rapidly. "Captain Morrison, you said we had 6 months to prepare." "We did have 6 months," Morrison replied. "Something must have changed. The Devourers don't usually alter their attack patterns." Dr. Lisa Chun, the science officer from the Wanderer's Edge, materialized as a hologram in the chamber. She was a small woman with black hair and intelligent eyes. "Captain," she said urgently, "I've been analyzing the Devourer fleet movements. They're not following their normal approach pattern. They're moving faster and with more coordination than we've ever seen." "What does that mean?" asked Dr. Namara. "It means they know we're here," Dr. Chun replied. "They know that someone has been watching them and preparing defenses. They've changed their strategy." Chancellor Mextara stood up. "Dr. Chun, you claim to have studied these creatures for decades. Tell us what we're facing." The hologram changed to show images of the approaching enemy ships. They were dark, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The Devourers are not like other species," Dr. Chun explained. "They don't negotiate, they don't take prisoners, and they don't leave survivors. They consume entire worlds, taking every living thing and all natural resources." "How do they do this?" asked Counselor Vexenal. "They use a combination of advanced technology and biological weapons," Dr. Chun continued. "First, they disable all communication and transportation systems. Then they release creatures that hunt down every living being on the planet. Finally, they strip mine the world until nothing remains." Commander Jackson's voice came through the speakers again. "Captain, we're receiving reports from our monitoring stations. The Devourers have already attacked 3 systems on the rim, the colonies. On Kepler 7, Vega Station, and the mining world of Series 4 have all gone silent." "How long ago?" Morrison asked. "Kepler 7 stopped transmitting 4 hours ago. Vega Station went dark 2 hours ago. We lost contact with Series 4 30 minutes ago." Amy Foster stood up, her face pale. "Those worlds have millions of people living on them." "Had millions of people," Morrison corrected grimly. "The Devourers don't leave anyone alive." The chamber was filled with shocked silence. The reality of the threat was becoming clear to everyone present. "Captain," Chancellor Mextara said quietly, "what do we need to do?" Morrison looked around. The chamber at the faces of 47 different species. "We need to work together. The Devourers have destroyed 17 civilizations because those civilizations fought alone. We have a chance to survive because we can combine our strengths." "What strengths?" asked Admiral Torxan. "You've seen their technology. How can we fight something like that?" Commander Jackson's voice answered. "Because we've been preparing for this fight for over a century. We've studied their weaknesses and developed weapons specifically designed to counter their tactics. A new hologram appeared, showing human warships emerging from hidden bases throughout the galaxy. These are the ships we've been building in. Secret, Morrison explained. Each one is equipped with weapons that can penetrate Devourer shields and armor. But we can't crew them all with humans alone. You want us to fight alongside you? Counselor Zixtal asked. I want us to fight together, Morrison replied. Humans provide the ships and weapons. Consul species provide the crews and tactical knowledge. We combine our technologies and our strengths. Dr. Chun stepped forward. The Devourers always attack the same way. They isolate their targets, then overwhelm them with superior numbers. But if we can coordinate our defenses across multiple star systems, we can force them to fight on our terms. How do we know your weapons will work? Asked Director Velanara. Commander Jackson answered. Because we've tested them. 3 years ago, we encountered a small Devourer scout fleet. We destroyed them using these weapons. But this time, we're facing their entire invasion force. Amy Foster found herself speaking without thinking. What do you need from us? Morrison looked at her with respect. We need trust. We need cooperation. And we need everyone to put aside their differences and work together. The hegemony has the strongest military in the galaxy, Admiral Torxon said. But even our best ships couldn't handle what you've shown us. That's why we need to upgrade. Your ships with our technology, Morrison replied. We can retrofit your vessels with new weapons and shields. But we need to do it quickly. Chancellor Mextara stood up. Representatives, we face a choice. We can continue to argue about human deception while the Devourers destroy our worlds, or we can work together to save our civilizations. How do? We know the humans won't betray us again. Asked Counselor Grickstar. Morrison activated his communication device. All human facilities, this is Captain Morrison. Execute Protocol 7, full disclosure. Suddenly, holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber, showing the locations of hundreds of hidden human bases, monitoring stations, and defensive platforms. This is every secret facility we've built, Morrison said. Every hidden base, every monitoring station, every defensive platform. We're sharing everything with you. The chamber filled with amazed voices as representatives saw the true extent of human activities in their space. You've been protecting us all along, Amy Foster said with wonder. We've been protecting everyone, Morrison replied. Because when the Devourers come, they don't care about species or politics. They just consume everything in their path. Chancellor Mextara raised his staff. I call for an emergency vote. All in favor of alliance with humanity against the Devourer threat? One by one, representatives from different species stood up. Even those who had been most opposed to trusting humans realized that they had no choice. The vote is unanimous. The Chancellor announced, We will stand together against this threat. As the chamber erupted in determined voices, Morrison looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching enemy fleet. The real war was about to begin. 3 weeks had passed since the emergency alliance was formed. The galaxy had become a massive construction zone as human and alien engineers worked together to prepare for war. On Nexus Prime, Amy Foster stood on the observation deck of the new command center, watching ships from dozens of different species. Being fitted with human weapons and shields, she was no longer Lieutenant Foster. After the alliance was formed, she had been promoted to Admiral and placed in charge of coordinating the combined fleet. It was the job she never wanted but knew she had to do. Admiral, came a voice behind her. She turned to see Captain Morrison. Approaching. He looked tired after weeks of non-stop planning and preparation. Captain, she replied, how are the upgrades proceeding? Better than expected. The hegemony warships are responding well to our shield technology. The Crystalline Collective's energy weapons are incredibly powerful when combined with our targeting systems. Amy nodded, but her expression remained worried. What about the species that refused to join the alliance? Morrison's face darkened. The Zephyrian Republic has withdrawn completely. They've sealed their borders and refuse all communication. The Outer Rim Coalition is trying to negotiate a separate peace with the Devourers. Can they do that? The Devourers don't negotiate, Morrison said simply. When they reach Zephyrian space, those worlds will fall just like all the others. Through the observation window, they could see the massive combined fleet taking shape. Human ships with their strange, flowing designs mixed with the angular, hegemony warships and the crystal-like vessels of other species. Admiral, Morrison said quietly, there's something else you need to know. Our deep space sensors have detected the main Devourer force. It's larger than anything we expected. Amy felt her stomach drop. How much larger? Over 3,000 ships? We're looking at the biggest invasion force they've ever assembled. Before Amy could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the command center. Emergency lights flashed as urgent messages appeared on screens around the room. Commander, Jackson's voice came through the communication system. All ships, this is Fleet Command. Devourer forces have been detected entering the Proxima system. They'll reach the core worlds in 18 hours. Amy rushed to the main tactical display, Morrison close behind her. The holographic map showed the enemy fleet moving through space like a dark wave, consuming everything in its path. They're moving faster than our projections, Morrison said. They must have found a way to increase their speed. Director Velanara materialized as a hologram beside them. Admiral Foster, the combined fleet is ready for deployment. We have 1,400 ships from 23 different species. That's still less than half their numbers, Amy said. Yes, but our ships are better equipped, Morrison replied. The question is whether our technology advantage can overcome their numerical superiority. Amy studied the tactical display, watching the enemy fleets approach. Captain, you've studied the Devourers for decades. What would you do if you were commanding their forces? Morrison was quiet for a moment. I'd split my fleet into 3 groups. Attack the core world simultaneously while keeping a reserve force to counter any unexpected resistance. As if responding to his words, the display showed the Devourer fleet beginning to separate into multiple formations. You were right, Amy said. They're dividing their forces. Commander Jackson's voice came through again. Admiral, we're receiving distress calls from the Vorthen system. Enemy ships have broken through their defenses. Amy made her decision. All ships, this is Admiral Foster. We're moving to intercept the enemy at the Centauri junction. If we can force them to fight in that narrow space, we can neutralize their numerical advantage. The combined fleet began moving through space, a mixture of different technologies and species working together for the first time in galactic history. Amy watched the ships on the display and felt a strange sense of pride. Admiral, Morrison said, I want you to know that regardless of what happens, humanity is grateful for your leadership. Don't thank me yet, Amy replied. Let's see if we can actually win this thing. The battle began 12 hours later at the edge of the Centauri system. The Devourer ships appeared on sensors like a swarm of dark insects, their angular forms absorbing light as they moved through space. All ships, engage at maximum range, Amy ordered. Use the human weapons to break their shields, then follow up with conventional fire. The space around Centauri lit up with weapons fire as the 2 fleets clashed. The human energy weapons cut through Devourer shields like they were made of paper, while the alien ship's conventional weapons finished off the damaged enemies. It's working, Commander Jackson reported. Their shields can't adapt to our new weapon frequencies. But the Devourers had their own surprises. Strange biological ships began emerging from the larger vessels, moving with organic grace as they attacked the combined fleet. What are those things? Amy asked. Dr. Chin's voice came through the communication system. They're living ships, Admiral. Part biological, part mechanical. Our weapons are less effective against organic matter. The battle raged for hours. Ships from both sides were destroyed in brilliant explosions, their debris scattered across space. Amy watched as brave crews from dozens of different species sacrificed themselves to protect their homes. Admiral, Morrison said urgently, the main Devourer command ship is breaking through our lines. If it reaches Nexus Prime ... Amy looked at the tactical display. The massive enemy vessel was 3 times larger than anything in the combined fleet. Its weapons had already destroyed dozens of their ships. "All ships, concentrate fire on the command vessel," she ordered. "Admiral, our ships can't get close enough. Its defenses are too strong." Amy made a decision that would haunt her forever. "Captain Morrison, take the Wanderer's Edge and ram that ship. Your experimental engines might be able to penetrate their shields." Morrison was quiet for a long moment. "Admiral, that would be a suicide mission." "I know. I'm sorry, Jake." "Don't be sorry," Morrison replied. "We always knew this day would." "Come." The Wanderer's Edge broke away from the fleet and accelerated toward the enemy command ship. Its experimental engines glowed brighter than a star as it pushed beyond all safety limits. "All ships, cover the Wanderer's Edge," Amy ordered. Tears streaming down her face, the combined fleet formed a protective formation around the human ship, sacrificing themselves to clear a path through the enemy defenses. Morrison's voice came through one last time. "Tell the galaxy that humanity kept its promise." The Wanderer's Edge struck the Devourer command ship at incredible speed. The resulting explosion was so bright that it could be seen from planets light years away. When the light faded, both ships were gone. With their command ship destroyed, the remaining Devourer forces began to retreat. The organic ships returned to their carriers, and the dark fleet slowly withdrew toward the galactic rim. "Admiral," Commander Jackson reported quietly, "the enemy is in full retreat. We've won." Amy stood in the command center, surrounded by representatives from 23 different species. They had won, but the cost had been enormous. Hundreds of ships were destroyed, thousands of brave souls lost. "Admiral Foster," Chancellor Mextara said solemnly, "the galaxy owes humanity a debt that can never be repaid." "Humanity doesn't want payment," Amy replied. "We just wanted to protect our friends." In the months that followed, the Galactic Consuls were reformed with humanity holding equal status alongside all other species. New protocols were established to prevent future deceptions while maintaining the unity that had saved them all. Amy Foster, now Fleet Admiral of the Combined Forces, stood on the bridge of the new flagship Unity. It was built using technology from every species in the Alliance. A symbol of what they could accomplish together. As she looked out at the stars, Amy reflected on how the revelation of humanity's deception had ultimately led to greater trust and cooperation than the galaxy had ever known. The Wanderer's Edge was gone, but its mission was complete. Humanity had kept its promise to protect the galaxy, and in doing so had finally found its place among the stars.